Welcome back, everybody. This is Crimson, and you are back in the corner. We have some wonderful guests with us today. Go ahead and introduce yourselves.
I'm Patrick.
And I'm Kate.
And we're Patrick and Kate, so...
Very
simple.
Complicated, if you can't...
Definitely.
Like I said, don't mind me. I'm just starting the conversation with a drink. Nice and easy.
Sounds good.
What are you
Kinda
drinking?
It's called Aquavit. I believe that's what it is. It's from Norway. From some of my international travels.
I want to go. Let's go.
Cheers.
Cheers.
So,
This is
thank
Kate's
you.
Duncan, so cheers.
Oh,
there you
Duncan.
go.
Cheers, you.
America runs on Duncan.
Of course.
And did you know, fun fact, the first Dunkin' ever is in our city, Quincy, Massachusetts. So if anyone wants to come to Quincy, you can see the first ever Dunkin'. Still
I've been
standing.
out there for a little bit, too. I used to do some military stuff out that way, so I'm familiar a little bit with the area.
Sweet.
It's a good area. We like it.
So I want to say thank you for taking the time to not only join audio-wise, because I know you guys are remote and I'm remote, but also to add the video. This is the first actual video Zoom podcast interview. I'm not going to lie, I ran into a lot of technical difficulties on my side, so appreciate you bearing with us.
Yeah, no, I appreciate throwing that in there. I think we made it more complicated than you were planning, so appreciate that too.
That's okay. It's extra features that we didn't have, so it's always worth the extra hassle getting it going.
And learning, right? We're all figuring it out. Especially
yeah.
during this virtual life, generally speaking. I mean, a lot of concerts, I don't know if they're still going on, but, virtual is sort of the norm, but also an accessible thing now, which is cool.
It's very different. Before you would have it as an accessory and an add-on feature, and now it's sort of the primary go-to to help expand your reach. If you're trying to do something for a cause or reach a different particular part of the U.S., you could join a group of people or a collective and now expand your reach, where before you were kind of limited to how far your gas tank will take you. And these days, it's not very far.
No, definitely not. It's like before I think the trip was more expensive, but now the gas I think beats out the trip cost. So it's almost better to get on a plane, I think, with the spreaded cost of gasoline there. So
$100 filled up the Jeep today. Not happy about that one.
Ooh.
it's terrible.
Yeah. Sounds about right.
It's bad. But let's start out by diving into kind of your origins with music, because I don't know if everybody who's tuned into the station have had a chance to listen to the style of music you do, or have realized that it's your songs that they're listening to. So I guess we should start with, how did you guys get started?
It's a great question. A long time ago. No, I'm not going to.
In a galaxy far, far away.
Yeah, in a galaxy far, far away, for sure. No, do you want to tell this one, or do you want me to?
Well, we both have a background in music. I studied classical at Western in Danbury, Connecticut, and kind of sang in the jazz groups, did a little bit of funk. Patrick, you may give your spiel.
My dad was nice enough to buy me a mixing board when I was young and didn't know how to use one, which is always dangerous. And I got a copy of Cubase, so that's kind of where I started with that. And mostly just recording for me, some live gigs with a few different bands that I pretty much put together. So it was basically the same band over and over again. And then we both met at an open mic night, and that's where we kind of, I don't know, started dating and then eventually started doing music together. So.
And that place is sadly not around anymore. It's called the Performance Hub in Torrington. The spot's still there, but things have changed, and we're so grateful because open mics are a great place not only to network, but to meet new people that you might gig with in the future, or you have the chance to showcase something new. So open mics, definitely support those. But that's how we met, and we started recording. I'm a music teacher by day, and we're performers by night, or
It's
weekends.
a Batman lifestyle.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I don't do the whatever you call it. What's the I'm so bad with
Paint,
words
the
sometimes.
makeup?
Yeah, the eye makeup, the shadowing.
Yeah, shadowing.
Yeah. I
Comes
don't do
in.
that.
Where's Caitlin?
Yeah, exactly. Hi. I'm looking for somebody to do music with. Maybe.
You're onto
I don't know.
something. You're onto something.
Maybe it's first time for everything, I guess.
That was
I might never do that again. So
I like that. It was good. So that's our background. When did we put out our first self-titled Patrick and Kate album?
2017. Yeah, because I graduated in 2016. So 2017, we basically in a week and a half recorded 10 songs. I don't know if that's good or if that's bad. It depends. Because the songs were really good, I think. But I think we were still getting used to like recording and getting a more polished sound. So like,
and bringing our sounds together, because I didn't really have background in pop. I was like jazz singer, a little bit of gospel, funk, classical, and he's pop, electro. So what we create is called pop alternative. And a little bit later in this interview, one of the songs we're going to perform is called Right, which is from that original album. But one of our goals in new releasing of music is to take some of our older stuff and revamp it, maybe change the key, up the tempo, give it a new twist today. Because it's the music that you create is hopefully timeless in its own way to like who you are as a group. So we're going to bring back some of our oldies.
Bringing it back from 2017.
Yeah, plus I had this thing, I think you might have heard of it. It's called puberty. So I had to, the keys, It was a little later in life, but,
I've heard about it. I don't know.
But I feel like 2017 is a million years ago because of COVID. So, a lot has happened.
A lot has happened, but I do feel very hopeful for the music industry and artists in general. I've seen a lot of folks coming together. People are going out. They're feeling a little bit more comfortable. Venues are opening up. It was about a week or so ago. I just ran into one not too far from maybe 40 minutes here headed north out in East Hampton. It was an old movie theater that recently got converted. And through the evening shenanigans, ran into a set of artists out in the Boston area. So we're onboarding them. I can't wait for y'all to, hear them and meet them possibly in person. And then also build a relationship with the owner of that venue for possible, in-person RLine events.
That sounds great.
Sweet.
We can't wait.
No, that's awesome. I mean, it's kind of crazy, like thinking, and I know you've had more interaction with Kate for the longest time here, but it's fun to hear when she was talking to you originally, where you started and like how much it's changed since then, and like your reach has gotten, I don't know, pretty big, I'd say. For did you ever see it getting this big? I guess, was this your goal, or like is it to get bigger, or like?
Great question. Well, I'm getting interviewed over here.
I'm sorry. Is that not allowed? I was just curious. I guess
we can do whatever we want, but I love it. So originally we got together, a group of us, and basically we're sick of kind of the radio playing the same 4 songs over and over and over again. And we felt that there was a lack of originality. And the group collective also had a bunch of different genres that we came from. So it wasn't just singularly one genre. And so we were just reminiscing about all the good times of being in like open mic nights, and original content artists threw something together, wanted to really build a community where different folks, different instrumentals, artists, singers, writers can come together, work together, and grow together, right? Ideally, we would love to see this get taken to the next level, where we could get to a point where we have enough artists to be collaborating with each other on a regular basis, and ultimately, pivot into maybe an independent label and or a management company where we can help take folks to the next level, whatever it means for them, wherever their path wants to go.
That's awesome.
That's
crazy. I mean, big goals, and I mean, you've accomplished so many already. So it's kind of cool to see that.
I appreciate that. Yeah.
Would you like me to go to the next interview question? I've got about 10 over.
Yes, please. Next question.
I think this year for us too, and last year, like the different connections and that networking, like it's so important. You can promote your music on all the normal channels, but meeting people, Twitter, all these things, I'm just like, wow, how much can you dive into? You can dive into so much. You can meet so many people.
Yeah, and I think to your point, like you mentioned, like the same 4 songs. I think it might be 3, but we could argue about that later.
The fourth one was the remix. It was the remix.
Yeah, exactly.
We'll accept that. We'll count that one.
But it's just like the amount of music that's out there, the amount of good music that's out there, and then the amount of music that is, I wouldn't say not good. It's just like mass-produced music. It's insane how that's such a small category of the actual music available, but you only hear that all the time unless you decide to go and listen to RLineRadio or like another independent radio station that isn't controlled by the record labels, you know?
So what kind of challenges do you guys face when it comes to, expanding your reach, right? Because you said you have your music, you could probably find it out on all these different platforms, artists are putting it out. So what challenges have you guys found in your journey to expand your reach?
I'd say the hours in a day, right? We just had a business meeting before this where we're talking about, all right, what kind of content are we trying to put out today? There's a little bit of a theme on it. Right now, we're not doing a lot of paid promotion. We're trying to really just get that organic reach. I would love to go to some festivals and conferences as they're starting to open up. Some names I've followed are like South by Southwest, just that kind of thing, I think. But the expansion, it's cool when you see what you did when you pushed really hard for like a couple weeks or a month and how they're still commenting or liking your posts or sharing. I think it's okay that it waxes and wanes. That's what I'm going to start by saying.
Yeah, I think the biggest issue for us is just the amount of like I don't want to go on like this is like a preacher kind of thing right now.
Tirade.
Yeah, I could go on a tirade.
The pulpit's yours. Take it.
I don't have issues with auto-tune, for example. I don't have issues with TikTok. I have issues with the fact that anybody can do music nowadays. And that is both the most exciting and disappointing thing of all time. It's kind of like the fact that there's access to all that allows some amazing artists who would never ever have that possibility to like come out of the woodwork. But likewise, you've got so many people who can sit down and by putting in 2 or 3 hours can tune up a performance to the degree where it's hyper unrealistic. It sounds really cool if you're like into that, and sometimes I am. Like it's fun. Like there's some bops with some an immense amount of autotune. I mean, every T-Pain song. Except T-Pain can sing. He can sing, too. Exactly. I was about to say. In fact, he gets really heartbroken when Adam Levine calls him out about that, which is very funny. But like technology is great. I think the problem is there is the end consumer in a lot of cases doesn't care about those, like the mass end consumer. There's a lot of people who take a preference in music and have like a certain standard that they need reached for them to like really feel like they can connect with an artist. But then there's so many people who just don't care. And I think that's a hard one to balance because it's so easy for us to sometimes say like, hey, let's go for simpler, and not always necessarily in the best way because it probably will be better received by more people than to add some complex scale in a song. And it's not even that complex. It's just more complex than a lot of people would prefer, I guess.
I think to piggyback off of that, learning from the artists who are making it is always, that research and that study. You can't put a price on that. Like I just heard it's probably old now, an interview with Billie Eilish and her brother, and she said, what we really focus on in our recordings is like the minute details that you may not really like hear because they're not the main vocal or the main instrumental, but they care about the nuances. And right, like I said about the time, it's like we want to put out a good product especially if it's going to Spotify or Apple Music, but
I want to take back everything I said a couple seconds ago. I think
that's why we complement each other so well.
I think that the big issue is the amount of people who are really good producers and not necessarily really good musicians. I think that's my big issue. Is there is just such like there's just a lot of people who can make up for the artist on the other end of the microphone. That I think that's the biggest struggle. Is that lends itself to so much saturation in the market that it's kind of hard to break through that sometimes and get people to realize that, yeah, at least the way I see it is I have something that I think is maybe better than some other people, not to be mean, And that's also just preference, I suppose.
It's believing in your art. You kind of have to.
Well, I mean, we're in the digital world right now, so everything is going to be optimized through digital means. But I still am a huge fan. So I went to a hip hop concert when I was younger. Went to see my favorite artist at the time. And his performance was nothing like I expected, and it was a totally different artist that I didn't even listen to that gave a much better performance. So the energy, you could feel it, and it was like contagious. But this is why I like rock meet concerts and stuff like that, right? You go and you're gonna get something that is very similar to what you're listening to on the tracks. The live version is usually much better, but it's still similar. You're not going to have like that auto-tune strip where someone's voice is nothing like what they're actually sounding like in person. So I think that's what we're really missing too, is that real sound. Like if you unplug, how are you going to sound?
Yeah, and I think you also call that out. It's like the performance aspect, and like there's some artists who are really studio they do well in the studio. They can get the idea and concept out. As soon as you have them, it's like we saw for college Jason Derulo. Whoever thought that was a good idea, good for them.
You ever see that meme? Sorry to sidetrack you.
No, I've never seen
January, February, March, April, May, June. Jason Derulo.
Yeah. Yes.
Yes, love that.
I think I showed it to you a couple weeks back.
I remember
so this
that.
is pretty relevant. But he's a really good example of somebody who's a really good dancer. But honestly, like they should have just had him lip sync the entire time, because hearing him roll through auto-tune live while singing and hearing him out of breath as he was like dancing, and like, I'd be much more out of breath, but you could still like tell that was definitely live, and it just wasn't in tune. But when he doesn't dance, he sings pretty well. So it's like he just can't do both apparently at the same time. At least that one show that I saw him, maybe it was a bad day. I don't know.
Not everybody could be a Beyonce.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
You can do like crazy stuff with the heels and still be singing perfect.
Exactly. Yeah.
How many
If I could
hours
do that, I'd be
of
set.
practice? Yeah. Inspiration right there.
Got to buy a pair of heels, I think, is what we've learned today.
We'll get you a pair.
Stairmaster. Get you going. Get your heart
Yes.
rate. Get you breathing.
Nice.
Yes.
So I see you guys have an amazing setup over there with, I see guitar, a piano. I see a lot of stuff. This is magic over here. Drums.
Our home studio.
Yeah, we decided to make everything super compact because I used to have a lot more than this. But living in a 2-room condo that you have people living next to you, so you can't like literally drive them out of the complex because that would be mean. We've kind of dumbed it down a bit, but yeah, we have all the basics. I mean, bass, electric, acoustic, uke, what?
I was just gonna say we have center stage on our
Oh yeah, did.
our iPad over here. I can't really move it that way, but this tiling looking thing is some foam pieces that do a little bit of soundproofing. So, and you can go into the details, but that's where we do like our vocals.
And
in
then
that
behind
corner.
the TV, I don't think you can see it very well, but we have like another little barrier that we put up, so it becomes like a little room over there that you can record in. That it pretty
That's
much
awesome.
deadens reflections for the most part. So.
And we have goals like over there is a strike pad. You can't really see. It's a 6-piece plus 3 on the top kind of drum piece. And I do have a lesson book where I'm going to be practicing. We try to do all the instruments in our songs. We know that sometimes it's not realistic to just wear all the hats, but I think that if you're a better percussionist, you can be a better keyboard player, etc. We do have a bass, electric guitar, a uke somewhere.
Yeah, but likewise, we've had your like brother Kyle play trumpet, right? I always mix up these instruments.
Yeah, trumpet.
Anything that's like a brass instrument, it's all the same to me. It's like I'm just gonna call them
He
all
will
horns.
be so offended. No, just kidding. That song is called.
Probably says more about me than anything else.
That song is called "All That I Have," featuring my brother Kyle Gavigan, and it's on Apple Music, Spotify, all of the
Pretty
above.
much everywhere. Yeah.
Yeah, that's one of our recent releases, so check it
Awesome.
out.
Yeah. So I mean, things we can't play, we have somebody else do it. But I'm not gonna lie, I'm a finger drummer, so that's where most of the drums come from.
The pads.
I will say I really refrain from using loops
Shall I go
because
grab it so
I
they
know
can
they're
see it?
available, but it bothers me to literally take something someone else is using, mangle it slightly, and call it mine. It just feels so wrong. But who knows? Maybe one day I'll change
Little
my mind.
product placement here.
The old.
So they teach you how to play with those when you're a kid. They all light up, right? And you fit all the lights and try to get them all to go out.
Yeah, pretty much same concept.
You've been training all your life for this one moment.
Yes, exactly.
One moment. I can't do the Batman voice. I just attempted. It wasn't as good, but
Yeah, I don't know if that's a Batman voice thing. It's more like an epic voice. It's like, in one moment,
Oh,
you can see everything around you flash to a blur, and then the
This
launch pad
summer.
comes out, and you click the shiny buttons, and you perform like you've never performed before. I don't know. I'm just making.
Can you do this, Josh?
It's pretty bad.
this summer,
Yeah.
coming to you from
At your
their
look.
apartment. Doo-doo-ts.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay, so in one of the RLine live days, can we have like a battle of the epic voices or something?
I
we
mean,
could
I think
do-
he just won.
I'm on board.
I think he won. That was a win right there. I think you got it.
No,
That-
see, technology. I'm auto-tuning my side. I'm doing stuff. You can't see it.
Oh,
It's
okay. Yeah.
filters.
Yeah.
I saw your hand down there. It was like a little fader movement there where you're turning it up. Yeah.
It's
okay.
this little RLine card is changing. It's a filter. Don't be fooled. It's a filter.
Okay. Yeah.
But yeah, definitely would love to get you guys live in person. We got some. We're basically trying to build a to-go kit, if you will, so then we could take it to the street or set up somewhere and almost do. Well, I don't want to spoil things, but we have plans for a sort of a video podcast that we're looking to get into and get up and running. Maybe like 30-minute segments, but it's like on the street. So we'll go to like those open mic spots and record people on the spot having interviews. So definitely tune in. We'll keep you plugged in because all we got to do is hop in the car, come up to you guys, and we could go to wherever you guys are doing something, or we could just go out and find people.
I like that.
I think that's, take it one step further. We're going to tell you we're going to be somewhere in an area within like a 5-mile radius, and you just got to track us down one day. It's just,
Where's
Scavenger
Fluffy?
yeah.
Yes, I love it. Where's RLine?
Yeah.
You have to find us.
Well, I know you're big into the breweries too. There's a couple opening up around us. So when you come by, one just came around in Marina Bay, and the name is escaping me, something Rock Brewery, but we'll take you around. These pop-ups, these new breweries, I feel like all connected in this whole getting closer to people, getting to know people. So we're excited about that too.
That sounds like a wonderful time.
You can tell that now that you've drank on your side, she's like ready for like a drink after this. So, you know what we'll be doing for the next hour.
I could bring you the rest of the bottle. I mean,
Oh, okay.
it'd
That's
take me
only
a little
like
bit to
what,
get-
like a 2-hour trip? Like that's a bit
Yeah.
excessive.
Well, when
Yeah,
were
it
you
might be
post-
gone. I'll have someone. I'll get an Uber. It'll be gone by the get there, but I'll bring you the bottle.
You're just gonna show up totally wasted. That's
I brought you the bottle. I didn't say I was bringing you the liquid. I just brought you the bottle.
a good point. That's a very good point.
Well, you were posting, was it last summer or sometime recent, the sour beers. Maybe I'm weird, but that is totally my jam. I'm like, sour beers all day. They're just so much fun. But they're not everybody's
They're light.
thing.
They're good. They're delicious.
They
Well,
give
it
you that
also
jaw.
depends. Oh, the tartness.
Yeah.
It depends on the sour
depends.
beer, though. I've had some pretty bad ones too, but
There's a spot literally like across the street ish from where I'm at, and they have something. It's like a blackberry cinnabon, and it sounded really good. Tried it. I was very impressed. Went back, bought a lot of them, so that way I'd have them because it was like a limited supply at the time.
oh yeah,
And then I was like, this feels like I should have cheesecake. So I went out and bought just regular cheesecake, and then I was eating the cheesecake and having the beer, and it was magic. It was perfect.
they sound like they go really well together. I mean, that's like the
oh,
perfect
yeah.
combo right there.
If they haven't thought of it already, they need you, This is like a pairing made in heaven.
Well, it's actually like poised as like a breakfast beer. So I've had some like blueberry beer that literally tastes like blueberries that you can have with a stack of pancakes. I don't choose to drink that early in the morning, but some people I
might.
know do.
If
Yeah.
you want to,
I probably shouldn't drink that early in the morning. I need to do something, at least one productive thing every day. So
That's
Wake
the goal.
up.
we could
Wake
do
up.
brunch. Oh, wake up! Wake up!
There you go. You woke up, got out of bed.
You're right. I can do it right at 8 a.m. That sounds perfect.
I'll go to bed at 2 though. Bedtime at 2 after drinking at 8.
I was awake for 6 hours on Saturday. And then I slept through until the next day, you know. But it was worth it.
All worth it.
Excellent. Oh man, yeah. There's a lot of breweries that are doing sort of live events and different things like that. So, with what you guys got going on, and I know you guys are working on a lot of music. You said you're trying to revamp some of your old catalog, work on some new stuff. I see you playing earlier before we went on live. You're playing with the keys. So where do you see yourselves going kind of next when you have the content that's ready to go?
Well, one thing I am researching and trying to figure out the best road towards is sync placements. So that's the side of the music industry where your song could get placed in a commercial, Netflix series, any of those kind of, any time you hear a song, that was a sync deal. And it's hard to get into that sector because there's often music supervisors that are looking for you, but for you to get in touch with them, there's a little bit of that middleman, or, you know, some kind of, you had a manager who knew them. It's a little bit of who you know. I think that would be awesome because they're often looking for themed songs. Maybe it's, you know, women's rights or something fast-paced when there's a chase scene, etc. So I think we can write in that style. It's something I want to dabble until we can kind of find the way in. But that's one thing that is on my side of, because we're a duo, we have to do it all ourselves. But that's one side that I'm going to be working on.
Duo it all ourselves. I think that's what you just said.
Brilliant.
I would say, so outreach over here. We've got outreach. We've also got the usual stuff. So we usually do a lot of like templating and like campaigning. So like there's a lot of free, just in case there's like people who are musicians who want some ideas. If you didn't know, this is a PSA. I was looking for those 3 letters for all of you. So there's items like Trello, which is really good for organizing different like projects. So you can categorize different steps in a project. You can assign it to people that you add to your team in Trello, and you can kind of manage that with timelines, due dates, expected amount of time it might take to get something done. What's the checklist in each one of those items to say this is complete? So you can get really micromanagey if you so choose. I would resist getting micromanagey like I do, but there's a lot you can do with that. So I think that's kind of cool, and it's very you know, in this world, once again, this digital connection we all have, it's another one of those applications that I think for a free application is actually really, really useful. And it kind of allows you to do things remotely without having to be in the same room all the time. And then we do a lot of like 30, 60-day campaigns. So like 60 days out from launch, we are, you know, doing XYZ. 55 days out from launch, we're doing XYZ, and so on and so forth until we get closer and closer, to build awareness or to like get things set up so like lyrics populate on Spotify for our music or like stuff like that. There's so many different like aspects to that. So that is the stuff that will always happen. But then she kind of comes up with some of these outreach ideas as we get closer. So I think this time it's going to be probably close to a 2-month launch period beforehand, and then as long as we can keep it going, kind of regurgitating in a different way. You know, this is our music. Adding it to different videos, making a cute video where we throw a song that's relevant behind it, you know, every which way. And that's kind of what you, I guess, have to do. And even then, it's, you know, still kind of a struggle.
And writing it down is so important
I'm
because
done. I'm talking.
No, that was good. Like on Instagram, if you've released a song, I think any song you release on Spotify and Apple Music, which a distributor that we use is CD Baby, but there's plenty of others. If you put your song out there on Apple Music and you go to Instagram and you make a video, you can find your song to then put the audio into your video.
That's pretty cool.
It's one of those things that's easy to forget, but that's why you make these templates. Like, okay,
so you don't forget anything.
I'm going to make a video, and I'm going to put my song on the video so people go look at it and look it up.
When you're through 3 glasses of whiskey, you still know what you're doing, and that's important.
Listen, I can go through a couple of glasses, and I can still tell you what I'm doing.
I think in the future, we're hoping to look at that management side of it, as we just named all those things, not to, for those tuning in. It is a lot. And we're not going to sugarcoat that when we have day jobs and we're trying to do this music thing. Yes, we have new music that we're hoping to release. We're performing at a wedding in May. We'll probably do some live shows or open mics this summer. But we really want to hone in on our original music because as lovely as it is to be a cover band, we write music and that's a skill that we have to keep, honing and putting our time and effort into. So the management side of things is great when you could just give a few of those tasks away. But you will hear from Patrick and Kate. We are working hard. We love that there are people who are following us and interested in what we're doing in this pop alt style. And we love connecting with people. So when you listen to our music and you think it's a great jam or you have an idea, please reach out to us because we'll always write you back, So
You got to stay creative. You got to keep that passion lit. It's
definitely.
tough.
It is. The older you get, I feel like it gets tougher. So many things that like to take that away, like, stubbing my toe on the way to, play my guitar. Like, game over, done. As soon as that happens, it's done. But no, you're right. You're absolutely right. And I think the drive, too. I mean, not to go back to you. I won't ask another question. I'm not interviewing you. But
Bring it on. I'm not afraid.
But the drive that you have, I think, is refreshing. I think for us, because we've gone through, I think it's been about 3 months now where we've kind of laid a bit more low. We're experimenting with some stuff. She's been writing solo. I've been writing solo. We've been getting together, seeing what each of us can kind of edit or update or whatnot, which is different than what we've done in the last couple of years where it's been writing it together every step of the way. And I think it's allowed us to both explore areas that maybe we would have thus kind of hindered, but then once we get to a place where we feel like we've expressed ourselves, then bringing it back together and still allowing us to both kind of work together is really cool. So, no, it wasn't a question. I was saying I wasn't going to ask a question. So
I want to ask him a question.
But she wants to ask you a question, so here you go.
Come on down.
So are you a musician yourself, or are you dabbling with writing any music?
Put me on the spot over here. So, a couple things.
That reaction, though.
I used to be a musician growing up. I played clarinet because that was one of the only instruments that was offered in my high school. Quickly, that went to the wayside. I said no. I wanted to play saxophone. I was going to be the next Kenny G. I really wasn't, but I just loved saxophone.
Hey.
Guitar is great, but that's really not my guitar in the background. It's the girlfriend's. And for guests who know what they're doing, I mean, I got a keyboard. I got a mini DJ set. I got all this. I got all the tools. But mine's a pen. So I'm a writer, a poet. So I started with poetry. Love hip hop and the beats and the fast syncopation, the flow, and then kind of took it over. And so I do a little hip hop, rap kind of music sometimes when I could find the right people to work with or inspiration. People have told me I kind of sound like a hybrid of Will Smith and LL Cool J. I gravitate towards those feel good 90s, 80s kind of upbeat vibes, and I just never had an engineer. So all of my stuff has been beats that I found playing around with at home, GarageBand. And I didn't actually have this nice mic in front of me or any of the tools that I have now. I had a Turtle Beach PS3 or PS2 Turtle Beach headphones with the mic. And I'm in the corner with GarageBand. And the old version had a filter that was, I think it was like an R&B filter. So it just softened it a little bit. And that's all I ever did because that's all I ever knew how to do. So any of the stuff that I have is really sort of raw. But it's fun. I have a passion for music. That's why we kind of put together, this particular organization. But I would love to get into playing guitar so I can kind of work on some acoustic stuff. And I'm always writing still. And I got some projects in the background that I'm working on with a few people. But always happy to write for folks and try to collaborate in any manner.
Sweet. That's awesome.
Would love to see some of those
It's
poems.
cool that you've tried a bunch of things before just kind of getting into your groove. Because, that's been something we've talked about, too. It's I'm not a guitarist. I play just enough to fool to some degree. But you'll never see me, really doing, a solo or something like that or a lead. If there's a lead in a song, I will play it. but singing over top of it, whew, yeah, no, I would butcher both ends of that assignment. So
I think that's hard for anyone. I started piano lessons when I was 14, and I'm classically trained, but I think I'm always impressed when someone can do some very intricate finger picking or piano licks while singing. Kudos to them, because that's just like splitting your brain in half and doing them. I feel like so it's hard.
We had one of our artists in this seat right here not too long ago, and he did a song live with the guitar, and he had harmonica, and I always thought, you just blowing, that's it. No, he was going to work doing both, and I was like, how do you?
That's so talented.
And he was singing. I'm like, how do you do that?
Yeah.
That's just so much inspiration. It's like, okay, I'm going to go practice now. Time to go practice.
But that, like you said, Pat, that is what separates those folks who are auto-tune and pushing the beats, and it's that passion and drive to take it to that next level, to be able to do all of that, because it's very difficult.
Yeah, no, it is 100%.
Very difficult. But I mean, I can't play anything. That's it.
Yeah, I think you're probably just being modest. Yeah, you could probably play something.
I could play a little Xbox.
Boom, there you go.
Ours is set up right back there.
Yeah, we are. This is probably
brought to you by Xbox.
Exactly. I could have like turned.
You
that on.
you have good friends when they buy you a light that shines with the word Xbox.
Yeah,
that's what that little light back there is, a gift.
That
for
or they
his
didn't know what
birthday.
to buy me. It was one or the other.
Can't go wrong.
Nah. So.
But you guys were starting to segue into tips and tricks for people trying to get into the industry. So I usually like to ask folks, what would you say to folks who are trying to follow in your footsteps or struggling or, want to dive into music, that have that passion inside but don't know where to start?
I'm going to give a production piece of advice. But before I do that, I'm going to say be more like Kate if it's about connections. Because I'm an extroverted introvert. I can be as extroverted in public when I need to be, but I like to go home and spend like the rest of the evening with no one talking to me afterwards. Because it just takes a lot out of me. It's like not this kind of thing, what 1-on-1, 2-on-2, that's not a big issue. But like any larger group setting, it's just like, once I'm done, I turn off the switch, I go home, and I like relax the rest of the night because it's just not who I am. Where she flourishes in that. So I think being outgoing and pushing yourself to be that, I think is something I keep working on, and it's something that like everyone should be working on. But from a production standpoint, there's so many resources, free resources. There's also like Udemy, which you can get like $13 classes on stuff. If you have a question about how to do something, like there's somebody who has an answer out there. But likewise, there's like a million people who will tell you how to do something that's completely incorrect, which is always great. So what I was going to say on that was sometimes I steer away from free courses because free courses tend to be, kind of a gamble. So I'd say if you're trying to learn or you're stuck on production, purchasing like a course, even if it's like $20, is still like a threshold thing where you feel like between the reviews and the money, you're getting at least some kind of decent content out of it. I think it's worthwhile because there's been plenty of times I've wasted my time on free content.
I would say to get better at your instrument, there's a lot of value in taking lessons. The idea that singing, everyone can sing. I was trained in something called mixed voice singing, which is the idea of bringing your chest voice and your head voice together in a big pot. Why is there this mixed pot? Because you don't necessarily want to just be breathy on your high notes and really like gruff on your low notes. So mixed voice singing, there are teachers in this style called IVTOM, International Voice Teachers of Mix. You can find their links and highly recommend finding a mixed voice teacher. Or speech level singing, SLS. If you're looking to take lessons in voice, definitely go that route. Also, with piano, studying your scales. I know that's like, my piano teacher wants me to play, 4 octaves of a C scale. Well, every song is in a scale or in a key. So taking the time to practice those scales, it really is worth it now. You'll see the effects later.
I just have one thing tack on. I was watching some video where it's like. Because I want to actually catch this. It was talking about somebody. You always hear that. I guess growing up, like, you're just not good at this. Comment. And I think one last takeaway is everyone's good at whatever they want to be if they put enough effort and work into it. And the truth is, when you decide not to, and you decide not to be good at something, it's because you decided you don't care as much about being good at something, Or maybe you just had a lot of people tell you suck at it, and that might be a real thing too. But I guess the point being is, even tone deaf people have learned how to sing, and sing fairly well. So really, the sky's the limit in that regard. You just got to be willing to do the 4-scale octave on the piano.
On the motivation side of that, though, I understand the struggle for the young singers who are like, oh, look at Katy Perry. She is so famous and doing so many great things. You are the only you out there, right? Like, become your own artist. Set your own path. And I know that might sound cliche, like everyone can do this, but if you want it, see what the greats are doing, but don't compare your ability, because I'm reading this book.
Katy Perry's not a great, but that's fine.
Well, she was my inspiration.
She's a firework.
She is a firework.
Firework. Yeah, no.
I teach private lessons, and I get asked all the time, like, what should I do for this student who just wants to perform? I say, well, give them performance opportunities. Bring them to open mics, and then they say, well, they just want to make money and be on the stage. And I say, they're going to have to make money at least first, right? That could be what happens, but teach lessons. Teach private lessons. If you're good at your instrument, you could probably find a studio that's looking for teachers on your instrument. And the network thing, which thank you, Patrick, for the compliment on how I want to go meet people.
I think teaching lessons actually falls in that category, because you're going to meet a bunch of people along the way. It's good to be out there when you're working on trying to, like, get your music noticed and still make money, and that's a much better way of doing it than going to some arbitrary place that isn't going to give you music connections.
I forget the exact quote, but Kid Leroy said he brought his mixtape to, I think, a hip-hop show or something, and made sure to meet these people backstage.
He'd always stand backstage, and when they come out, he would just, like, be, like, throwing his CD at them, like, every single time. And he'd do it for, like, I don't know, it was a couple of years. It was, like, 2 or 3 years, and finally somebody actually brought it home, put it in, listened to it, and said, oh, yeah, that was actually Juice WRLD. They ended up starting working together after that, I think.
That's the biggest thing. No big artist today got there just because they got there. They knew someone, they made a connection, they kept working on it, and I think that's a good takeaway, we hope.
By the way, if you want to chime in at any point, we could just keep going. We just go back and forth. This is like, you're looking into the day in the life of us, because she'll say something, I'll say something, we'll just be sitting here all day just talking like this, so...
Look, this is my corner. I'm always here. You guys are guests. You guys have the floor. You can talk as much as you want. I mean, we can go off topic if you really wanted to, but I love just the passion. Like, you can hear it. You guys are going back and forth about how excited you are and about, oh, this. Yeah, you're right. But also this. Oh, yeah, you're right. But, like, it's a team. And that's something, I mean, it's community. It's the teamwork. It's finding somebody who fans your flames, right? Whether that's in a personal relationship, professional relationship, whatever capacity, that's what you want to find. Somebody that recognizes you and your talents, whatever it may be, and breathes life into that and excites you. And then you fill up and then you feed it back, because then it'll keep you guys going. It'll keep you on track. You become accountability partners. You're writing, he's writing a new piece, he's making music, and then you hear it and you're like, oh my gosh. You go sit in the corner and you start writing because you're like, oh my gosh, this is pulling something out of me. And then you give it back to him. He's like, oh, wait, I got to add this thing now because your lyrics are changing it. And then at the end, you have this beautiful piece. It's like a ballet. It's a dance. Just because of your passions intertwining because of your talent. Like, yeah, that's how music's made.
That sounds like a song itself. Let me go. Real quick, we'll write that song.
Do I have 2 seconds real quick? You can cut this, right, for a second? Or
we can do whatever we want.
All right, just 2 seconds, because I've been, like, OCDing, thinking about whether or not this is recording this entire time.
That's fine. Listen, we're raw. I mean, you could go do that while we're talking. Normally, like if you've heard some of our old episodes, like my dog has been barking in the other room during this episode, and I'm like,
my
well, that's
alarm
great.
went off or something,
It definitely
too.
makes me feel better, and it is still recording. So I'm worried about absolutely nothing. It's like in the back of my mind, it's like we've been going at this for what, like a solid
45 minutes.
Okay, yeah. So maybe this is the worst time to go. Give me a second. Let me go make sure the last 45 minutes counted.
It's not actually. Funny story. The gentleman with the guitar and the harmonica, Mr. Charlie Diamond, we did about a 20-minute take, and then I looked, and it wasn't recording anything. And then he came in, we were relaxed. I went to school with him. We were sitting here chatting, and I was like, "You want a drink?" He's like, "No, I'm good." So I'm having my drink because it's Crimson's Corner. It's what we do. We have a drink and unwind, or multiple drinks, whatever your preference. And after the 20 minutes, I was like, "Oh shoot, let me set this back up." He's like, "I'll take that drink now." and so,
That was it.
so yeah, we jumped back in, and honestly, I think the initial 20 minutes gave us the groundwork, and then we managed to do the dance and get the job done. But
You loosened
it's
up a
never
bit.
a wrong time to check that things are recording.
For sure.
Yeah, the amount of times that like we've been in situations where one of us is recording and we didn't actually hit record properly, and it's like that was the take. Yeah, walks out and go. You just hear in the background, just add expletive there if this is just audio on your side. But it's just like it's. But you know what? A lot of times you do that kind of stuff and you go, I've done it once, I can do it again now.
Or I could do it again and better.
Doesn't work for me.
Now. No, it doesn't work for you.
Yeah, I've had a beat and I was just in the zone just for whatever moment I just tapped into the passion, full adrenaline to the vein, and I just freestyle. And I don't freestyle. I don't. And what I was, and it was the best thing ever. And I looked to see if anybody recorded it, and they were like, "Oh my gosh, that was amazing." I'm like, nobody's gonna believe me because that was never recorded, and I couldn't do that again on the spot if you paid me. And
Okay,
then,
I do agree with that. There's been I wouldn't call it freestyling because I'm not rapping, I guess, but like there's been moments where I've just been coming up with random lyrics, so I guess freestyling to some degree. And actually, this happens more often than not. But I'm just sitting over here and I'm like jamming on my guitar, and Kate walks in and she's like, "Are you recording it?" And I'm like, "No," and she's like, "Well, there, you did it again. We had a really good song, and you're never gonna remember it." And I'm like, "Okay."
No, that was day one.
always record. Just have your own jam sessions. That's what I've learned. You come in, like we used to have like a round table here in between, like either before or after we did like in studio sessions, and I would put the mic on and just hit record. And you're like, "What are you doing?" I'm gonna capture all of whatever shenanigans we get into after this, because there could be gold segments, and if you don't just turn it on and just unwind and like relax, you will never catch it. But then if you do, you harness the power.
Well, that's what I've been. So that's the nowadays, which is I will just casually put my phone near him when he doesn't notice and go
Yeah,
record.
I'm playing and I'll look over on like the little armrest over here, and there'll be a phone that magically appeared there now a lot of times. So,
Are you recording? No, nothing to see here.
But that's good. I mean, that's how you capture like those little nuggets of genius. You're like, "Oh my gosh, that was amazing." Or you're in the shower. That's why you always keep a pen and paper somewhere close to your phone, actually. And you're like, "Oh, let me get this down before I forget."
I think right after this, I'm gonna put a mic in every room. I'm just gonna start wiring them through, and then like
Big Brother's got you.
button.
Big Brother's got you. Just ask them for the tapes.
Oh, that's true. Wait, no, you're right. I got my HomePod minis in every room. I'm good already. I'm set.
Alexa, tell me what I just played.
Exactly. Yeah.
Could she actually record?
I don't
you
know.
if you're like,
I mean,
"Please
I know
record"?
she does record you. It's just a matter of whether she'll play it back. That's the big question.
Maybe
You
that could be
probably
the next
test it
thing.
out.
Dear Tim Cook, please make a feature for musicians where you can ask Siri to record and then send it to your phone. That'd be perfect.
You probably could do that. There's probably an app out there, and if there's not, you should get on it before everybody else gets it.
Millions of dollars. I know. I just said it. Someone's going to do it. Look, I don't care. If they do it, just send it to me.
Give me a free copy. I'll be the beta tester. Just send
Yeah.
it.
Exactly. Yeah.
Should we play a song?
Well, yeah, I was gonna say. I see you guys got some instruments, and I would love to see what you could do with that.
Okay.
Want to tell them about the song?
No, you tell them about the song.
You wrote it.
No, you tell him. You tell him.
No, you do it.
It's easier if I don't have to talk.
Do you want me to play triangle? I can go get the triangle. I can play tambourine.
Oh my God,
Yeah,
please,
yeah.
please do.
I mean, the only downside is the lag over Zoom. It's going to be like slightly off the entire time, but it could be kind of cool. You never know. It might be the way it's going to play after that.
Oh, camera just dropped off, but that's all right. This is them. This little square in the middle. That's those folks.
My mother is my mom. My mom is calling
Hi,
me.
Mom.
Thanks, Mom.
She has like a sixth sense for this. I could be in a meeting where I'm giving a presentation at work, and she'll call me. I could be in the middle of this interview, for example. She'll call me. She calls me whenever it's absolutely least convenient, which is very fun.
She doesn't mean to. It's
But I
because
love
moms
it.
love us.
She doesn't know
It's
my
fun.
schedule.
But it's
just knows.
fun.
So this song is called Right. The words are written by Patrick. It's the dynamic between how a mix of someone has to have the last word / I'm right. No, I'm right. And it's kind of a little bit flirtatious and yeah.
I want to summarize it because I felt like you just. Didn't
Oh, you're
summarize
right. You're right. So why don't you
Because
say it?
mine's more correct. Yes. No, she mostly said it. It's that like when a guy just says that the girl's right because they know it's the right thing to do. It's kind of based off of that. Of course, she's
on a true
actually
story?
always right. True story.
This is
Every day in this song. Opportunities like you and me. Baby, take a chance on something you believe. I swore when we met, oh, it wasn't luck. Take a step on the edge, promise to agree that I'm right. I'm right. Opportunities to release the leash, take control, want everyone to know. I'll let you believe you got a voice, seems. Why don't you sing to me? Take a step on the edge, promise to agree that I'm right when I say I am. When I tell you that I'm your man, right? When I say I'm wrong, even when you tell me that it don't matter, though, right? We'll let you in, give you everything, even if it's in, right? No, maybe, 'cause baby, I'm right. Baby, I'm right.
I'm just saying, can't you see things? There's different sides. Call me misleading, dangerous even when I'm sleeping. No control, babe. I'm just teasing.
I'm right. When I say I am, when I tell you that I'm your man, right? When I say I'm wrong, even when you tell me that it don't matter, though, right? We'll let you in, give you everything, even if it's in, right? No maybes, 'cause baby, I'm right.
I'm just
when I say I
saying,
am, when I tell
can't
you
you
that I'm
see
your man, right?
There's
When I say
different
I'm wrong,
sides.
even when you
Call
tell
me
me that it don't matter,
misleading,
right?
dangerous
We'll let you in, give you everything, even if it's in, right? No maybe.
I'm just teasing.
Maybe I'm right.
I'm just teasing.
Baby, I'm right.
Baby, I'm right.
So that is like the 8th time we played that in the last couple days.
And it's different every time.
So I was shaking my boots a little bit because I'm not used to semi-winging a couple parts. But I think it turned out pretty well. So that was, big plus.
I like it. It reminds me, it has like it's probably just because of the guitar. I have a deep passion for the guitar sound, but it gave me like a Spanish guitar kind of vibe to it. Like magic. I love it.
Bravo
Nice,
for
thank
picking
you.
that up. It originally had like a bum, ba-dum, gum, bum, ba-dum.
It's got like a Latin beat behind it. Typically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Magic.
Good job.
I have an ear. I just can't match it sometimes with, like, I can't articulate it always because I I can't Dr. Dre it in the beats.
I mean, you nailed it this time, so I know what you're talking about. You're gonna have
like
to mess
to-
it up in the future, so we can make fun of you.
I'd like to request with your writing skills that in one of our releases, if you could please write a review of how it sounds to you or something that we could post. No pressure, but we
Definitely
would like
no
to
pressure.
request.
She's doing this right on here to make sure there's no pressure.
I would
be
happily
interested.
write that for you.
that.
I would definitely would love to have like the studio version, so I can engulf myself in the speakers and just take it all in.
You got
I
it.
Yeah,
love
I think
cranking that all the way up and just absorbing it.
We have that coming, I think.
We
we're
originally
going to work a little bit on it tonight.
Yeah, that's
I
part
think
of
we'll
our
be
evening
finishing up
plans.
in the next couple weeks, I think is our goal. So,
Which
May, probably.
yeah, like for an official release before or after like the promo time.
Yeah, because we're going to release a couple of the songs off of like an EP and then release the entire EP together
Okay.
afterwards.
So we will definitely send it to you first.
Ooh, RLine exclusive.
Yes, I like that. We'll hashtag that.
I love it. Hey, it's starting here. This will be the first hashtag, so you guys will be the first
RLine exclusive. Can we use
RLine
that?
exclusive. Yeah, go ahead.
RLine
Okay.
exclusive. There
All
you go.
right. All right.
You'll be
This
the
is
first
magic.
one. Bow. Done.
That's so exciting. All exciting things, right?
Yeah. Well,
gonna be a
thank you
good
for
year.
listening to us for the last 3 minutes or so of singing, and for the interview. I don't know if you have any other questions before we wrap it up. I'm not sure if we are trying to. I'm also trying to be cognizant of your time. So
No, I appreciate that. When I have guests on, it's really the floor is theirs. We basically hit the hour mark, which is the target always. I mean, it flew effortlessly, but yeah. So I mean, we could transition, see where it still goes, but realistically, you already gave some words of wisdom to the folks. How can people find you? Because that's really important, right? Because you're putting out this great music, you're putting out your passion. If people are interested in listening, tapping into the gifts that you're giving everybody, or want to get involved and collaborate with you, or help give you gifts of new songs or new opportunities, how can they do that?
Patrick and Kate Music. The new branding is Patrick with a plus sign. So Patrick and Kate. We have a website that goes out as pkofficialmusic.com.
or patrickandkatemusic.com. So both work.
It's one of those
I think it's a little
linking.
less confusing. We just have we have a bunch of different iterations of the same website. They kind of explain that.
And that's normal, just so you know. You can own several names like domains, but Patrick and Kate on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, TikTok, Spotify, Apple Music.
I'd say low key on TikTok and SoundCloud, but by all means, never.
We're working on it.
Yeah, it's more like we do it sometimes, comparatively. And then a few others. You'll find us in other places too, but I don't think we maintain those as much. So
The website, so if you're going by the easy name, Patrick, A-N-D, Kate, music.com, that's where you can subscribe to our email.
And Kate is spelled K-A-T-E for those who might spell it
Yes, that's
differently.
with a
Thank
K.
It does
And-
matter.
It does matter.
We got to really get better at this 30-second elevator pitch. This is hey, you're just poking holes through all of our marketing today.
Well, no, ask the questions because we want to always get better too. So if you want to subscribe to our email, that would be awesome because you will hear our first or intimate recordings or non-released special things. That's what you can get off of our website, patrickandkatemusic.com.
And then the last piece, definitely hangover afterwards. We'll wrap this up, but we'll keep chatting a little bit afterwards if you're good.
Yay, fun.
That's the after hours, guys. You got to plug into the exclusive content. But for the episode wise, floor is yours. However long it takes. Shout out. Any special thanks to anybody who's been, huge impact on you guys, whether it's from the beginning, now, even maybe somebody you want to work with, whatever. Floor is yours. The world's the limit. Enjoy.
Without sounding like we're pandering, thank you for having us on this. I mean, that's
Shout
a
out to
huge thing.
RLine.
And always, supporting us and everything. It's been a great relationship so far, and any way we can help you out as well.
Our voice feels heard. Oh, thank you. Sorry. RLine.
Do you want to take away a couple?
Oh, goodness. Shout out to Billy DeCrosta. He was my first mixed voice teacher.
He was my first mixed voice teacher.
Patrick took some lessons.
Kate was, but that didn't work out.
Well, when you're married, it's hard to teach each other, but we work on it.
You're not doing it right. I'm sorry. Okay, I'm so sorry.
Let's see. Family, of course, parents, friends.
Friends, a lot of friends who like initially would come out and see us and still do on occasion. I think a little less now that we're up in Boston, Massachusetts, but
my brother and sister, they are musicians too and have been collaborators. Definitely looking for more collaborative opportunities.
Yeah, and then I guess a generalized shout out to everyone who's given us an opportunity up until this point. I think there's so many people that honestly I either forget their names or it's been like 4 years or 5 years, but every one of those moments I think has gotten us to where we are today, and hopefully, we'll continue to move us forward. So
Torrington Parks and Rec for having us on. Winchendon, they have a recreation spot where we've performed. The Poor Yard in Quincy has had us several times. I mean, I could definitely go on, but those are some like key items that once we first moved, also when we moved to Massachusetts from Connecticut, people who accepted us in open arms. So, and we are looking to expand in the New England and beyond. So if you think we'd sound good in your area or have an idea, like you said before, for us to write a song, we'd love to get to know you.
And last one, to Kate, who puts up with me every single time we do music. Because, there's so many times where I'm sure she wants to wring my neck, and she doesn't, which is much appreciated. So, joking about that to some degree. But
and then I have to say to Patrick, because
that's just pandering now.
I'm not going to pander, but but
crying.
I will say that Patrick's production skill is something I do not have even half of. He's a brilliant producer.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So thank you, because it's expensive to go into the studio, and I am blessed to have you and your skills. Oh,
what it's magic.
Magic.
Well, thank you both for taking the time to join me here, for putting up with my technical difficulties and all the craziness, and for believing in RLine and our mission. We really set out to help folks like yourselves who have that passion and are trying to carry that torch and really make a difference, and trying to go do stuff while fighting the day-to-day jobs and all that craziness, right? Because eye of the tiger, right? Don't sell your passion just for whatever everybody else tells you to do, right? Stay true to yourselves, keep putting out the work, expand your network. That's really the end goal and key, is to bring like-minded people together so that we together can rise up and share our voice and our passion. So thank you very much for, again, believing in us and being here and taking time out of your day to sit here with me today.
Been fun in the Crimson Corner.
Yeah.
We plan to have you back plenty of times. Want to thank everybody else for listening in. And as always, same time, same place. We'll see you next time.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye.
All I worry about